go over how to build in Smite 2 today. Give you guys some tips, some tricks, give you some general things that you should be looking out for in Smite 2. Try and break it down for you because it's really actually pretty simple and similar to Smite 1. Just got to use your noggin a little bit. And I'll also give you some settings that will help out. So first and foremost, I'll show you a tweet that I made that can kind of break it down simply for you. I'm just going to read through it real quick. For those of you still confused about how builds work in Smite 2, don't worry, it's simple. Like I said, there's physical damage characters and magical damage characters. Even though there's no classes in the game, there's still physical damage characters and magical damage characters. Okay, keep that in mind. And coming from Smite 1, it's pretty simple. You just get like a Neath is going to be physical, Chalk is going to be physical, but Soul will be magical, and Ymir will be magical. So if you're a Guardian or Mage from Smite 1, you're probably going to be magical in Smite 2. And if you're an Assassin, Warrior, or Hunter from Smite 1, you're probably going to be a physical. So that's one way to think about it right now. And physicals only do physical damage, and magicals only do magical damage, always. Okay? There's two different damage item stats. There's strength and there's int. You're probably thinking strength is physical power, and you're probably thinking intelligence is magical power, which is an okay way to think about it, but it might get you more confused. So just consider them strength and int. Those are two new damage stats. In some characters scale off of strength, some scale off of all int, and then some are a mix. They're a hybrid. So if you're building int on a physical character, this is why you probably shouldn't think of it as magical power. If you're building int on a physical character, it doesn't make them do magical damage, even if their build has traditional magical Smite 1 items. So if a Neath is building a Book of Thoth, a Doom Orb, she's building a Staff of Mirrodin, all these other items, she's not doing magical damage. She's still doing physical damage, but because her abilities scale off of int, such as her 2 and her ult, that's why she's building those int items, because it's going to make her abilities hit for a lot more damage. But she's still doing physical damage. So another example is all the autos in the game scale off of pure strength. Basically, it's 100% strength and 20% int, except for maybe an exception is Mordred or whatever. But for the most part, if you want to do auto attack damage, you want to build strength. So if you want to build auto attack soul, you build strength and you go crit and you go dev gloves and stuff like that. But you're still doing magical damage as soul, even if you're building strength, okay? It's really not that crazy. Think of it like in Smite 1, Neath had a completely different build than a, let's say like a Rama ADC. Because Neath was more ability-based, she went stuff like Transcendence, she went stuff like Heartseeker, Crusher. Even though she's still a Hunter, she's basically the same character as a Rama as far as like, you know, class and everything. She still built a completely different build. So you kind of have to think of it like that. And also you just need to be reading tooltips, because tooltips are very important now, because it'll tell you how much they scale off each thing. You can also just try out builds and see how they feel. That's what people do in Smite 1. And that's how they figure out builds for the longest time, the past 10 years. And, you know, you can theory craft all you want, but you just try out builds. If it feels good, if it works, then it works, you know. But yeah, continuing on. Same thing applies if you want to be tanky against that soul, because she only does magical damage. Even if she's building full auto attack, she's still only doing magical damage. You have to build magical defense. If you want to be tanky against a Neath, who's building full int, she still only does physical damage, so you only build physical defense against her if you're trying to be tanky to her. There's like some exceptions, because there's some items that will lower crit damage but only give you fizz prots. So that will help you against the soul, the passive will, but the base fizz prots are not going to help you against soul because it's only magical damage, okay? So yeah, you can use this as a cheat sheet. Try and remember this, but for whatever reason, if you're confused, you can always just copy good players' builds like you did in Smite 1. Or you can just test out stuff, and then if stuff feels good, it feels good, and you can keep running it. But yeah, it's really not too difficult. And most of the time, traditionally physical characters, or from Smite 1, traditionally physical characters, are going to scale off strength more, but there's going to be some exceptions like Neath and Cernanos. They have a lot of int scaling in their kit. And they're probably going to introduce new characters or characters from Smite 1 that have hybrid scaling. So just always read the tooltips, try and figure it out. And you should be fine. It's really not too crazy. One way to think about it as well, it's not too like consistent, but if something is like a magical type ability, it might scale off of int, whereas something's more like a physical in nature type ability. So like, for example, Neath 2, she kind of just like does like a, I don't know, she's sort of concocts some sort of spell, and her 2 like makes a circle on the ground. I don't know. I can't explain it, but it kind of makes sense that it scales off int. Whereas her 1 is pretty much just like a empowered arrow. So more strength side. But you can think of it like that. It's not that big of a deal. That's more of like a a nebulous way to think about it, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, that's a little cheat sheet for one. Number two, in game, if you go to your settings, I got this from Ven, so shout outs to Ven for this. You go to UI for your actual item store. A lot of people are confused about it right now, and this should help a lot. If you change item purchase pop-up detail level to minimal, that'll help a lot. And item store grid detail level to minimal. It'll be much more similar to Smite 1. Just a lot more intuitive when you're actually going to the store. It's going to show you your tier 3 items. And when you type in stuff, it's going to show you stuff right away in the top instead of having to scroll all the way down. So you'll see everything right there. So set both of these to minimal, and that'll help you in the item store, which also, of course, will help you build because you can speed up your gameplay and you won't be sitting in base nonstop jorking it, you know? So yeah. Save, that's already set to that. So that's that. And then, of course, number 3, I do want to show you guys some builds as well. So that's what we're going to do right now. Show you some good items, some things that I'm building. Now, I'm not going to go through every character and show you their builds. I'm going to try and go through each role and talk a little bit about it. But there's still a lot of experimentation to be had right now in Smite 2. And I recommend just trying stuff out for yourself. Most characters in the game are viable. I only think a few characters are super OP, that being Sol, Bacchus, and Jingwei. They definitely need nerfs, but everything else comes down to comfortability, comes down to knowing what you're building, your play style. And yeah, now I'll talk a little bit about the hybrid characters. So when it comes to solo, some good items, starter items, always go Bluestone if you're a strength-based character. Let me see here. Starters here. 2, 3. Always go Bluestone. It's the best starter. Axe, I don't really like that much, so I'd probably skip it most of the time. And then as far as actual items go, I'm just going to list off a bunch of items that I think are pretty good right now, and you can build situationally depending on your thing. As far as relic goes, you're probably going to have to go Sunder some of the time because people are invading right now and actually secures buffs, but otherwise go Blink, and that's fun. I want to remove that because it's taking up an item slot. So here's some good items in no particular order. Shield of the Phoenix, good. A lot of Smite 1 items are going to be here because they kind of ported those over, and I think they didn't really balance them that much. Shifters, very strong. Void Shield, very strong. Glad Shield, all these shield items are pretty good. Pridwin is good. Oni Hunters is good. It's one of the few mitigation items in the game, and it's good magical defense. If you need anti-heal, Ruinous Ankh is also good. Gives you prots for each. It's a nice little tank stats, but anti-heal is obviously always important. Triton's Conch, as well as a nice little hybrid item. It gives you HP. It doesn't give you any prots. It gives you a decent amount of HP, and it gives you int and strength. So if you're a hybrid character, pretty nice. I'm going to take that out. Genji's is also still good. A lot of Smite 1 items, like I said, are very, very good in the game. Support item, but also could be used in solo lane, is Amanita's Charm. It's the mushroom that heals people around you. It's an active item. It's on a low cooldown. Very good. Also recommend this. Mystical Mail is still good. And then you can get a little bit crazy. Eye of the Storm is one of the new items. That's also a hybrid item. Gives you prots, strength, and max HP. So that's nice. So this is basically your standard bruiser build right now. Now I'm going to remove everything because there is a different type of build that you can go in solo on, especially Chalk. Odin can make some use of it, but characters that basically just have hybrid scaling that have both int and strength in their build, you can go... I wasn't able to find it before. Oh, here it is. Book of Thoth and Transcendence. So what this does is it gives you infinite mana. It gives you a ton of strength and a ton of int because you get int or you get strength from your total mana on Transcendence, and then you get int from your total mana on Book of Thoth. So with these two items, you get like 2k extra mana and then all of that int and strength. So it gives you a ton of stats for that. And then you can just go bruiser from here. So something like a Shifter's Shield, something like a Triton's Conch, something like a Pridwin, and like a Void Shield or Glad Shield last item. And this build is also really good. I've also messed around with Breastplate in this build. You could even go, instead of Triton's Conch, you could go Jotuns here because Breastplate plus Jotuns is a lot of cooldown. Both passives give you cooldowns back on your base abilities in different ways. So I don't know where Jotuns is, but yeah, you can go Jotuns if you want. That's also a pretty strong build. Highly recommend it on Chalk, but you'll only really want to go this if you have hybrid scaling. Also, Mordred has hybrid scaling, so you can make that work. So yeah, that's solo lane. Jungle is also pretty simple, I'd say. Just kind of going Boombas for your starter. I usually go Boomba's Hammer, but you can make the other one work. It just kind of depends on your character, but for the most part, it's just Boombas. You can also go other starter items. You don't need to go a jungle starter item in the jungle. Like if you're Loki, you go Bluestone and be really annoying with that. But just some good meta items right now. Tekko, very good. Gives you movement speed when you use abilities. Brawlers is super strong. Obviously, anti-heal is always good, but it also has 60 strength on it, which most junglers will skill off strength a good amount. Transcendence, you can go in the jungle. Jotun's, again, like I said, is really good. Pendulum Blade is good because it gives you cooldown, but it also has that passive where you activate it and you get 3 seconds off your base cooldowns. So super strong. Heartseeker is still, or Hydra's is still strong. Heartseeker is still strong. You could throw Jotuns in here, full damage. Yeah, you're gonna be feeling good. If you're like a Loki and you want to go a proc build, go Heartseeker, go Crusher, go Tekko, that kind of stuff. Pretty standard stuff when it comes to the jungle. Nothing too crazy. Mid, there's a couple different builds you can go. You can get a lot of intelligence as a mid laner right now, which is something that they can't usually say. Where is it? Here it is, Conduit Gem. Now, you can either go Conduit or Sands of Time, kind of personal preference, but some really good items. Again, not really surprising here. Where was it? Book of Thoth, infinite mana int build. Pretty freaking nice. Deso is still good. You can throw that in there. Again, no particular order, just some meta items that I think you'll like. Gem of Focus is good. Rajatuhiti is very good. I think probably every mage build should have Rajatuhiti. Reaver should probably be in every mage build. Where is that? Divine Ruin if you need anti-heal. Can't find Reaver. Here it is. Reaver is super strong. So we already filled up the build. If you need pen, Obsidian is super good as well. There's actually no cap on percent pen, so you can get a fuck ton of pen and one-shot their tanks. So that's also viable. See if there's any others. What was the other one? Oh, the other ones were Dreamer's Idol. I also think that's a really good item. That's a new item, wherever it may be. It's the one that has the Last Gasp. Oh, here it is. Oh, wait, no. Cosmic Core is the one that has Last Gasp, which is also a really good item. You can throw I'll remove Divine. You can throw Cosmic Core in. That's also a really good item. You get cooldown if you have more than 225 item intelligence, which you'll basically always have in a mage build. So that's good. And then also Dreamer's Idol, which is the one that makes you go big mode and gives you 20% extra intelligence. That's also very, very good. So yeah, that's basically what you want to be building in mid. Support, a little bit more like counter building involved, but for the most part, the starter that you always want to go is this guy, Heroism. This thing is so busted. Shields for days. It's basically the upgrade from Smite 1. You get it in the base form, and it's 10% of your max HP, which is insane because it scales throughout the game because you're getting more HP. Always basically just go Thebes into Amnita's Charm right now. These are two really good items. Obviously, Thebes is a staple in Smite 1 support, and then this is a super strong item. I already talked about it. Gives you a bunch of heals, good base prots, good base stats, and then super short cooldown on that passive. And you kind of just counter build from there. You can go a lot of different stuff. You could go hybrid and kind of kill them. A lot of times you're going to want to go Sundering right now in support because you either secure your own buffs or invade their buffs. So yeah, consider going that. But yeah, kind of just counter build from here. I've seen people go like Eye of the Storm. Spirit Robe is nice. You can go the Triton's Conch here for your team because it's actually an aura that gives strength and into your teammates and a lot of support skill off of both. Like Bacchus, for example, you can make good use. Ares would be good with that. So yeah, Pridwin, you can throw that in there. You could throw in anti-heal if you need that for the team because they have a lot of healing. Something like that could work. Basically, you just want to be counter building / helping out the team as a support. Like always, you could even go like active items like the Purification Beads or this one, which is basically Sprint, Hasar's Wings. And the Purification Beads one, where is that? Sorry, I can't type in this website. I can't like search, so somewhere around here, right? Do you see it? I don't see it. Oh, here it is. Talisman of Purification. So this cleanses you and your teammates. So it's pretty nice. So yeah, it's a support build that you can go. Or just some items that you can go, like I talked about. And then ADC, this one's probably the most set in stone. This build path is pretty easy in my opinion. You just go crit because it's really, really strong right now. It'll probably get nerfed, but for the time being, you go crit. That's the starter. And then basically always go Dev's first item. Let me just hit strength right here. Remember, like I said at the beginning, if you're going auto attack, you want to be building strength because most 100% of strength goes towards auto attacks, whereas 20% is int or strength. Where you at, little guy? Here it is. So with that in mind, go to the strength tab and kind of just select from here. when I played ADC, it basically either go Demon Blade second
has joined the Fonzo family.
or Musashi's Dual Swords. This is a pretty expensive item, but it's good on its own because it has 30% crit and 30 strength, so it's pretty nice. So you go something like this, Deathbringer, Demon Blade, XC some games if you need the pen, Fatalis if you're trying to have some fun. Again, not a full build, but just some items that are good right now. Death Metal is another viable option for you. Kins as well, if they're pretty tanky, they have a lot of HP. Kins is still super strong. And yeah, but basically those 6 or 7 or 8 items you should have basically every game, and you'll be fine. And yeah, that's it. And then upgrade this, of course. You only have one option for your upgrades on your starters, so yeah. So just to summarize a little bit, it's really not too confusing. If you're a physical character, you'll only ever do physical damage. If you're a magical character, you'll only ever do magical damage. Try and pay attention to some hybrid characters. Neith is a hybrid character. Cern is a hybrid character. Chalk is a hybrid character. Mordred is a horrible character. Mordred's a hybrid character as well. So pay attention a little bit. There's going to be some characters that scale off int, some off strength, and some a mix. And those are the hybrid characters. So just look at the tooltips, build around and test around with that. But yeah, it shouldn't be too confusing. Hopefully that helped a little bit. That's basically it. Hope you enjoyed. Stay safe and healthy always. Peace.